But his greatest strength might be that Democrats believe he's the candidate who's most likely to beat Donald Trump on November 3. Duncan McKenzie-McCarg, TRT World, Los Angeles.
Well, for more on this, Jeffrey Tucker joins us live now from Great Barrington in Massachusetts. He's the editorial director at the American Institute for Economic Research. Good to have you back on again, Jeffrey. Now, it only seems like yesterday that you and I were talking about Bloomberg's surge in the polls, and now he's bowed out of the race. Was his $500 million spend on the campaign worth it? What did he achieve?
He achieved absolutely nothing except a grave personal and professional embarrassment. $500 million. Imagine all the investment that could have been, all the jobs. I mean, what you and I might have been able to do with $500 million is kind of awesome. Or a smart investor like Bloomberg is. His campaign was a disaster. I have no idea who he was relying on, but I don't know who told him to run to the left of Bernie Sanders and to not ever explain to the voters who he is or what he wanted to do or ever develop a theme. He just ran ad after ad after ad, believing somehow that if he spent enough money, he could actually buy the nomination. Well, we learned, didn't we, yesterday that you can't do that. So all this talk about fear of money in politics turns out to be really amounts to absolutely nothing. But
Now,
also,
Joe,
it's very interesting. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to move on to Joe Biden because he is officially the comeback kid, isn't he? He's now the front runner once again in this Democratic race. What explains his thumping victory on Super Tuesday?
Oscar, I'm afraid he wants to talk about it as this mighty comeback. That's a lot of drama. What you have is Democrats acquiescing. They're like, yeah, he's not so hot, but he seems like the best thing we've got. Well, at this point, I think they're trying to minimize losses for the next election. I'm sorry to say it, but they're looking to not be absolutely humiliated, and Biden seems the person most likely to minimize the disgrace that they're going to be greeted with. And I say this not, out of personal opinions or anything. I'm just looking at the betting odds right now are giving Biden an 80% chance to win the Democratic nomination, but very, very low odds to actually winning the general election. Trump is the overwhelming favorite. So, if Sanders had received the nomination, it not only would have branded the Democratic Party as basically America's Communist Party for the next 20 years, but it would have discredited the progressive left in this country for a couple of generations, which, maybe some people like that idea, but I think many establishment Democrats are a little concerned about that. So Biden will minimize the damage, I think, and that's what this is all about. I'm not really sure that Biden himself is attracting all that much energy and excitement. It's more like, who can we put out there to not make us look just absolutely terrible?
So how much, what was behind this Super Tuesday result? I mean, how much of it had to do with a backlash against Bernie Sanders' socialist economic agenda?
Oh, I think a lot of it did. Yeah, I think you're right. So in the last debate, Sanders, is promoting, Cuba's social and educational policy, which, it just shows what a tin-ear he has. What a crabby old Menjovic he really is to think that you can say to the American voters that America should be more like Cuba. I'm sorry, that is just not very smart campaigning. So yeah, there was some degree of worry that it was fun for a while to get behind this guy and that's sort of interesting and,
Yes.
and progressive and hip, but it just didn't last. And I think there was a last minute panic. That's why you had everybody dropping out right before Super Tuesday so they can coalesce around one guy who at least has some chance of not completely discrediting the party in the general election.
Well, it isn't the end of the race, as we know. Jeffrey Tucker in Massachusetts, thank you, as always.